What's up, everyone? Logan Freeman here with Midwest CRE Advisors. Today, we're breaking down the Overland Park Planning Commission meeting from December 8th, 2025. If you're tracking development in the KC Metro, this meeting was packed with major projects that tell you exactly where the smart money is flowing. We've got Costco making moves on parking, new residential subdivisions pushing into South Overland Park, a massive apartment complex getting refined, and retail expansions at Corbin Park. This is the ground level intelligence you need if you're working deals in Johnson County. Let's dive in. The December 8th meeting had 22 agenda items. That's a heavy load. And what's interesting is the mix of projects. You've got established retail players like Costco optimizing their existing footprint. You've got residential developers pushing density. And you've got commercial centers like Corbin Park continuing to evolve. The consent agenda moved quickly. 3 items approved without discussion. But the regular agenda had some meat on it. Staff recommended approval for almost everything, which tells you these projects have been vetted and refined through multiple rounds of review. The meeting covered projects spanning from 110th Street all the way down to 186th Street. That's the entire north-south corridor of Overland Park. So this gives us a snapshot of development pressure across the entire city. Now, let's break down the 5 biggest projects from this meeting. The first major story is Costco. They had 2 separate projects on the agenda and both tell the same story. Costco is parking constrained and they're solving it. Project 1, Southridge Retail Center at 121st and Metcalf. This is the existing Costco location. The proposal is to replace the fuel pumps with a surface parking lot. That adds 85 new parking spaces. The fuel pumps aren't going away. They're being relocated. But Costco is saying, we need more parking more than we need convenient fuel access. Total parking after this change, 824 spaces for the Costco building alone. The site is already overparked by code requirements, but Costco doesn't care. They know their customer behavior. Weekend traffic jams the lot, so they're adding capacity. Staff comment, Costco has to provide parking amenities for the new spaces, increased landscaping, and larger tree calipers. Staff approved it with stipulations. Project 2, Talc Properties at 123rd and Blue Valley Parkway. This one's even more interesting. There's an existing 5,200 square foot medical office building on the site. The original plan called for an 8,000 square foot retail building. That was never built. Costco is revising the plan to replace that unbuilt retail building with 108 parking spaces. That's a net gain of 38 spaces over the previously approved plan. Here's the angle. Costco negotiated with the adjacent property owner to vacate an access easement. That allowed them to reconfigure the site, connect the parking areas, and eliminate a right-in-only driveway off 135th Street. What this tells you, Costco is land banking parking capacity. They're not expanding square footage. They're adding a second location in this corridor. They're optimizing the assets they already have to handle higher customer volumes. Both projects were approved. Both are in the same general area, 121st to 123rd, along the Metcalf and Blue Valley Parkway corridor. This is Costco saying, we own this trade area and we're going to make sure our infrastructure can handle it. If you're a retail developer or a multifamily player in this corridor, pay attention. Costco doesn't make these moves unless they're confident in long-term traffic and spending power. That's a vote of confidence in South Overland Park. Next up, Sundance Ridge. This is a rezoning at the southeast corner of 175th Street and Kenneth Road. The applicant is requesting a change from R1 to R1A zoning to allow a single-family subdivision with smaller lots. Here's the background. The property was rezoned to R1 back in 2013. The developer sat on it for 12 years. Now they're back saying, we can't build what we originally planned because part of the site is ungradable. The R1A zoning allows for smaller lot sizes. That means they can fit more homes on the buildable portion of the land and right off the eastern edge as open space. Staff comment, this project does not align with the future development character framework. The site is designated as commercial hub in FrameworkOP, not residential, but staff is recommending approval anyway because the property was rezoned to residential before FrameworkOP was adopted. Translation: framework. OP is aspirational. When it conflicts with existing zoning and property rights, existing rights win. The interesting part is the location. This is 175th and Kenneth, far south, Overland Park, almost at the Cass County line. The adjacent subdivisions are Blue Valley at Loch Lloyd to the north and Red Fox Run at Sundance Ridge to the south and west. All single-family residential. So even though FrameworkOP says commercial hub, the reality on the ground is suburban single-family sprawl, and that's what's getting built. Staff approved it with no stipulations. This one sailed through. What it tells you: South Overland Park is still a single-family growth engine. Developers are still buying land, sitting on it, and coming back with revised plans when market conditions change. And the city is flexible when the changes make sense. Now let's talk multifamily. Crystal Springs Southwest is a 252-unit apartment project at the northeast corner of 135th Street and Flum Road. This project was originally approved in 2022. It's under construction. What's on the agenda is a revised preliminary plan to modify the site layout. Here's what changed. The original plan had a right-and-only access from 135th Street. The developer is now removing that access. Why? The adjacent property owner originally opposed vacating the access easement. The developer negotiated an agreement, got the easement vacated, and is now reconfiguring the parking areas. The result: the parking areas to the east and west of the old private drive will be connected. The old drive becomes green open space. The site is cleaner and more efficient. The project still has 5 buildings, 4 stories each, except one 3-story building totaling 276,929 square feet and 252 units. Density is 19.5 units per acre. Maximum allowed density is 43.6 units per acre. So this is well below the cap. No density bonuses required. Parking: 424 spaces, which is 1.68 spaces per unit. That's within the required range of 1 to 2.5 spaces per unit. Amenities: 2 major amenities, swimming pool and clubhouse, and 4 minor amenities, picnic areas, dog park, open space. Staff comment: approved with stipulations. The stormwater detention basins were recertified in May 2024. No issues there. What this tells you: multifamily is still getting built in Overland Park, but it's not pushing maximum density. Developers are building mid-density projects that pencil without requiring bonuses or waivers. That's a sign of a stable market, not an overheated one. The 135th and Flum area is becoming a multifamily cluster. You've got Crystal Springs Southwest, you've got other RP5 and RP3 zoned parcels nearby, and you've got Goddard School and retail to the south. This is turning into a compact neighborhood node. If you're an investor or a lender, this is the kind of project that's low risk. It's not bleeding edge density. It's not speculative. It's bread and butter Class B multifamily in a proven submarket. Last major project: Corbin Park. This is the big retail center at the northeast corner of 138th Street and Metcalf Avenue. It's been there since 2004. It's mature, and it's still evolving. The applicant is Unity Ventures. The request is to modify Pad 8 within the overall Corbin Park development. Here's the change. Pad 8 was originally approved for 2 small commercial buildings totaling 6,300 square feet. The new plan is 1 building totaling 15,000 square feet. That's a market and a restaurant. The building sits at the north end of the pad with parking to the south. There's a truck dock and loading area on the north side, screened by a masonry wall. Traffic analysis: the new use actually generates fewer trips during the AM peak hour and slightly more during the PM peak hour compared to the original plan. Net impact: negligible. No off-site improvements required. Parking: 75 spaces for Pad 8, which meets code. The overall Corbin Park development has 4,366 spaces, which is overparked by code standards, but Corbin Park is a regional retail center. Overparking is expected. Staff comment: approved with stipulations. Lighting: landscaping, and final building elevations will be reviewed at the final development plan stage. What this tells you: established retail centers are still backfilling pads and optimizing layouts. Corbin Park isn't adding new ground, it's densifying existing parcels. And this is smart. Corbin Park is surrounded by multifamily, Corbin Crossing to the south, Tallgrass Creek to the west, the village at Deer Creek to the north. It's got Prairie Fire mixed use to the east. This is a mature walkable node. Adding a market and a restaurant on Pad 8 makes sense. It's not speculative. It's responding to the residential density that's already been built around Corbin Park. If you're a retail broker or a hospitality investor, pay attention to projects like this. Established centers that are still leasing and improving are where the safe money is. They've proven the market, they're just refining the mix. One more worth mentioning: Southern Meadows Clubhouse and Pool. This is a residential amenity project at 186th and Ironwood Street. The applicant is Southern Meadows, LLC. This is a clubhouse and pool for an existing residential community. The preliminary plan and the final development plan were both on the agenda. Staff comment: approved with stipulations. This is routine. Residential communities build amenities. The Planning Commission approves them. Nothing controversial. But here's why it matters. 186th and Ironwood is the far southern edge of Overland Park. The fact that there's residential density there that justifies a clubhouse and pool tells you how far south development has pushed. 10 years ago, this was farmland. Now it's subdivisions with amenities. If you're tracking growth patterns, the southern third of Overland Park, from 159th Street down to 199th Street, is where the action is. That's where residential is pushing. That's where the infrastructure is catching up. And that's where you should be looking if you're buying land or planning multifamily projects. A few projects were continued to January 12th, 2026. Let's run through them quickly. Menorah Medical Center at 119th Street, revised preliminary plan, continued to January. This is a major healthcare expansion. Watch this one. Capitol Grill and Yard House at 115th and Knoll, final development plans. Both continued to January. These are upscale restaurants going into an established retail corridor. The delay is likely site plan tweaks, not project viability. Mission 159 at 159th and Mission Road, final development plan, preliminary and final plat. All three continued to January. This is a single-family project from Arise Homes, multi-phase. They're probably coordinating with the city on infrastructure. One project was withdrawn. The Reserve at Coffee Creek at 167th Street. Final development plan. Withdrawn. No explanation given. Could be financing. Could be market conditions. Could be a dispute with the seller. Either way, it's off the table for now. What this tells you: continuances are normal. Projects get delayed for technical reasons, but withdrawals are red flags. If you're tracking a specific project and it gets withdrawn, dig into why. So what do we take away from this meeting? Number one, Costco is doubling down on South Overland Park. 2 projects, both focused on parking capacity. That's a signal that retail traffic and spending power in the 121st to 123rd corridor is strong and growing. Number 2, residential is pushing south. Sundance Ridge at 175th Street. Southern Meadows at 186th Street. The southern third of Overland Park is where single-family growth is happening. If you're a land investor or a home builder, that's your target area. Number 3, multifamily is steady, not speculative. Crystal Springs Southwest is building mid-density apartments at 1.68 spaces per unit. That's conservative. That's bankable. That's not chasing maximum density or pushing zoning limits. It's smart, risk-adjusted development. Number 4, established retail centers are still evolving. Corbin Park has been around since 2004, and it's still backfilling pads and refining the tenant mix. That tells you the 138th and Metcalf node is mature and stable. If you're looking for retail investment opportunities, established centers with ongoing activity are safer bets than ground up speculative projects. Number 5, FrameworkOP is aspirational, not absolute. Sundance Ridge was designated as commercial hub in FrameworkOP, but it's getting rezoned for single-family residential. The city is pragmatic. If a project makes sense on the ground and aligns with existing zoning history, FrameworkOP takes a back seat. And number 6, Southern Overland Park is the growth frontier. From 159th Street down to 199th Street, you've got residential subdivisions going in, infrastructure catching up, and amenities being built. That's where the long-term value creation is happening. So where's the opportunity? If you're a broker, focus on the 121st to 135th corridor along Metcalf, Blue Valley Parkway, and Flum. That's where retail and multifamily are both active. Costco is investing, apartments are getting built, there's transaction velocity. If you're a developer, look south, 159th to 199th Street. Single-family subdivisions are the play. The land is cheaper. The infrastructure is being built. And the demand is there. You've got Blue Valley schools, you've got commuter access to I-35 and US 69, and you've got buyers who want new construction in a suburban setting. If you're an investor, multifamily in the 135th Street corridor. Projects like Crystal Springs Southwest are low-risk, mid-density plays in a proven submarket. You're not chasing yield, you're buying stability. If you're in retail, established centers, Corbin Park, Prairie Fire, the Metcalf corridor. These are mature nodes with ongoing leasing activity. Backfilling pads and tenant repositioning is where the opportunity is. Ground-up retail is harder to pencil. And if you're tracking land, the Asperia campus question looms over all of this. The Royals are evaluating Overland Park for their new stadium. If they commit, everything changes. Land values spike. Development accelerates. Infrastructure gets prioritized. But even without the Royals, Overland Park is steady. It's not boom and bust. It's methodical, well-planned growth. And that's where smart money goes. So here's the bottom line. The December 8th Overland Park Planning Commission meeting showed us a city that's still growing, still attracting capital, and still executing disciplined development. Costco is investing. Residential is pushing south. Multifamily is steady. Retail is refining. And the city is pragmatic about balancing FrameworkOP with real-world market dynamics. If you're in CRE and you're not tracking Overland Park Planning Commission meetings, you're missing ground-level intelligence that tells you where the money is going before it shows up in the headlines. Thanks for listening. This is Logan Freeman with Midwest CRE Advisors. Let's go make some deals.